Divine Whispers, Understanding God's Messages in Your Thoughts. Written and published by MindLixer. Tuning into the frequency of the divine. Have you ever found yourself pausing in the midst of life's ever-present noise, listening intently for a sound that isn't audible to the ear but resounds within the soul? Tuning into the frequency of the divine is akin to discovering a secret wavelength where the universe's deepest wisdom transmits signals directly to our innermost being. It's about finding a channel where the static of everyday chaos dissipates, revealing a divine broadcast that is perpetually on air, awaiting receivers tuned finely enough to pick up its subtle messages. This broadcast isn't delivered in words or conventional language as we know it. Its vocabulary consists of feelings, intuitions, and those aha moments that visit us in the quiet corners of our days. Imagine the heart as an antenna, feeling out the waves of divine insight that wash through the cosmos. Every so often, we stumble upon these moments of connection, brief, brilliant, and often fleeting. Like the sun peeking out from behind the clouds, they illuminate truth, love, and insight before once again slipping behind the veil of the mundane. But how can we make these moments less of an anomaly and more of a constant guiding force in our lives? To start, consider the fabric of your daily routine. Is it threaded with moments of stillness, or is it a constantly unraveling spool? Tuning into the divine frequency requires intentionality, a purposeful stepping away from the relentless bombardment of external stimuli to create a receptive space. Silence, that oft-neglected luxury in our modern cacophony, is the meeting room we must prepare within ourselves for this sacred encounter. In this space, the divine doesn't shout to be heard. Instead, it whispers, waiting for us to stop and in-tune our ears to its subtlety. Now, what exactly is this divine frequency, and why does it merit our attention? For many, it represents the essence of all that is bigger than ourselves, the collective breath of spiritual consciousness, the undercurrent of truth that transcends cultural and religious dividers. It is the metaphorical voice of God or the universal mind, the source from which springs an endless fountain of guidance, wisdom, and serenity. To tune into this frequency is to seek a kind of universal connection, one that grounds us and yet elevates our perspective far above the pettiness of life's distractions. It's like accessing a foundational energy that fuels not just the stars but also the very atoms of our existence. As we ponder our capacity to engage with the divine, we must also unravel the layers of our skepticism and the rust of accumulated disbelief that have coated our perception. Turning the dial to this elusive wavelength demands faith, the belief in the unseen, the conviction that beyond the realm of tangible, empirical evidence lies another plane of understanding. It is a leap into a universe that doesn't rely solely on the sensory, but instead embraces the mystical and the metaphysical, domains where scientists and theologians alike tread carefully and often with a sense of awe. One might wonder, amid the grandiosity of this concept, how one might concretely step forward into this practice of tuning in. It begins with little things, the mindfulness to savor a sunset, to notice the symphony in a bird's song, or to feel the significance of a stranger's smile. It's woven into the fabric of expressing gratitude, of pausing to reflect on the interconnectedness of all life. It beckons us to listen to the soft nudges that urge us towards acts of kindness or self-improvement. As we attune ourselves to these gentle impulses, we slowly but surely fine-tune our internal receptors to the omnipresent broadcasts of the divine. Understanding the impact such harmony can have on our lives can further motivate us to experiment with this tuning process. Those who report having connected with the divine frequency often speak of a newfound sense of purpose, of a placid inner compass that guides them through life's turbulent seas. It is as though the static which once mired their judgment clears up, allowing them to see their path with greater clarity and to navigate their choices with deeper conviction. For many, this resonance with the divine aligns with a profound sense of returning home, to the most authentic and peaceful part within themselves. As we delve into the intricate process of tuning into the divine frequency, we unearth tools and practices that have stood the test of time across various cultures and spirituality, the practice of silence through meditation, the contemplation of sacred texts, prayerful communication, and more. Yet, the most powerful instrument lies within us: an open heart, a willingness to listen, a patient persistence to keep the noise at bay and to be ever present. Therein, we find a gateway to a transformative experience, an experiential understanding that surpasses the limits of language and intellect. In this transcendent space, we are neither alone nor adrift, we are part of a grand cosmic dance, connected to every other being by the divine music that plays endlessly, should we choose to listen. The quest to tune into the divine frequency is not a novel pursuit reserved for the mystics and sages of old. It is an ever-present invitation offered to each and every one of us. The signals are there, pulsating through every layer of existence, humming within the air we breathe, the ground we walk on, and the lives we touch. As we make the effort to listen, to attune ourselves, we might just discover that what we seek is also seeking us, that within the supposed silence lies a conversation, a dialogue that has been ongoing since time immemorial, waiting for us to join in. The nature of divine communication, differentiating between God's voice and our own thoughts. Discerning the delicate frequency of divine communication from the chatter of our own thoughts is an intimate journey of spiritual reflection. In this explorative discourse, we venture into the intricacies of differentiating between what may be perceived as God's voice and the myriad of ideas, desires, and internal dialogues that often dominate our mental landscape. The pursuit is rooted in a yearning to connect with a higher wisdom, one that originates beyond the confines of our ego and personal experiences. Our thoughts are a dynamic tapestry woven from the threads of our upbringing, culture, education, and personal biases. These often form a loud and vibrant cacophony that can drown out the more subtle whispers that lie beneath. Yet, it is within this quieter space, a realm some attribute to the divine, that we seek guidance and insight transcending our day-to-day reasoning. The key here is to recognize the inherent differences in the quality of these communicative experiences. God's voice, however one may define the divine, is frequently described in scriptural anecdotes and by spiritual practitioners as a profound sense of knowing. This is not a knowing in the intellectual sense, but rather an intrinsic awareness that resonates deeply within the core of our being. It's often accompanied by a distinct feeling of peace, clarity, and assurance, irrespective of the external chaos that may prevail. The voice of God doesn't clamor for attention with urgency or anxiety, but instead reveals itself patiently, waiting for the moments when our internal noise subsides, and we are receptive to its subtle presence. In contrast, our own thoughts are largely reactionary and can be emotionally charged, reflective of our immediate concerns, fears, and desires. They are born from the ego and its relentless pursuit to assert itself, to resolve problems, to plan, and often to control outcomes. These thoughts can be tumultuous, swinging wildly between highs and lows, and are heavily influenced by our sensory experiences and the input we receive from the world around us. To discern divine communication, one must cultivate a space for stillness, where personal thoughts can be observed rather than acted upon. This is where practices like meditation and prayer serve as invaluable tools. They allow for a quieting down of the mental stream, providing fertile ground for a different kind of dialogue to surface, one that feels more like an unveiling truth than a constructed thought or biased opinion. Regular immersion in silence and contemplation can gradually attune our awareness to recognize the nature of divine whispers, distinguishing them from the rush of our everyday cognition. Another indicator of divine communication is its alignment with perennial wisdom and virtue. Messages that stem from the divine often have an element of universality, echoing the enduring teachings that uphold love, compassion, justice, and humility. They are typically not exclusive, self-serving, or harmful to others, but promote a sense of interconnectedness and goodwill. While the language of the divine may not necessarily be verbal, it can manifest through an intuitive nudge, an inexplicable sense of direction, or a recurring theme in our life experiences that nudges us towards growth and betterment. Whereas our personal thoughts are often linear and analytical, divine communication can appear as multilayered and symbolic, offering insights that engage us at multiple levels of understanding. Developing the ability to listen and distinguish divine communication is akin to tuning an instrument to the right frequency amidst a spectrum of other signals. It requires patience, humility, and a recognition that our personal lens is not always the clearest. We learn to ask for spiritual insight and then wait without presumption, acknowledging that our own wisdom is limited. With time, we come to sense a profound difference in the essence of divine communication, a sense that it comes from a source far greater than our own minds, and one that seeks to connect with us for our highest good. Cultivating sensitivity to divine communication also involves an ongoing process of self-examination. It impels us to question the origin of our impulses and insights. Is this thought rooted in fear? Is that desire emanating from a place of ego or from a higher calling? Is this decision I'm about to make promoting love and harmony? By consistently examining our intentions and motivations, we sharpen our spiritual discernment, increasingly able to distinguish between the chatter of the mind and the tranquil voice of the divine. Encounters with what we might consider divine whispers are deeply personal and unique, and the interpretation thereof is often a matter of faith and personal belief. What remains universal, however, is the human quest for guidance that transcends the ordinary, leading us towards an ever-evolving understanding of our lives and our purpose within the grand tapestry of existence. It is an art form of the spirit, a delicate dance with the divine, that when mastered, can imbue our lives with profound meaning and direction. As we navigate this journey, it's important to hold space for both skepticism and belief, understanding that our interpretation of divine communication will inevitably be colored by our individual perspectives. What may be an unmistakable sign or guidance for one person might be dismissed by another. Yet, the very pursuit of differentiating God's voice from our own thoughts propels us toward a deeper engagement with our inner world and encourages a more expansive view of the possible ways in which the divine seeks to connect with us. In embracing this exploration, we join a lineage of seekers who have sought, across cultures and epochs, to tune into the frequency of the divine, allowing its gentle guidance to shape their journey through the symphony of life. It is in the attentive listening, the quiet surrender, and the open heart that we invite the Possibili. Historical perspectives, divine whispers in religious texts and teachings. Throughout history, the idea that the divine communicates with humanity has been an integral part of religious experience. In nearly every tradition, sacred texts and teachings are replete with accounts of individuals receiving guidance, instruction, or revelation from a higher power. These communications often arrive cloaked in mystery and are interpreted as whispers from a realm beyond our own, an unseen force intersecting with human lives to offer wisdom that informs faith and moral conduct. In the ancient landscapes of Scripture, we consistently encounter the motif of divine whispers. Consider, for example, the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, where the notion of God speaking to human beings is a recurring theme. One of the most profound instances of divine communication is the story of Moses and the burning bush. A normal day turned extraordinary when Moses came upon a bush that was aflame yet not consumed. From this miraculous fire, God spoke, calling Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Remarkably, this was not just a monologue. Moses asked questions, and God replied, establishing a dialogue between the human and the divine. In the Christian New Testament, angels function as messengers, delivering divine whispers to key figures. Mary, the mother of Jesus, hears from an angel that she will bear a child who is to be called the Son of God. The apostles, too, experience visions and hear voices that guide their actions and affirm their faith. The Book of Revelation documents a series of apocalyptic visions received by John, vivid with symbolic imagery and prophetic declarations, conceived as direct transmissions from the divine consciousness. The Quran, the holy book of Islam, is said to be the literal word of God as relayed to the Prophet Muhammad by the angel Gabriel. The Hadith literature, which documents the sayings and actions of Muhammad, also includes references to dreams and visions through which divine wisdom is imparted. The messages received by Muhammad were meant not only for him, but for all of humankind, providing a blueprint for living a life pleasing to God. Hinduism offers a different perspective on divine communication. In sacred texts such as the Bhagavad Gita, divine discourse is presented as part of an epic narrative. Here, Lord Krishna imparts spiritual teachings to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. These conversations delve into profound philosophical discussions about duty, righteousness, and the nature of existence itself. In this context, divine whispers are part of a grand exposition on the journey of the soul and the interplay between the mortal and the immortal, the temporal and the eternal. Buddhism, while not theistic in the same sense as Abrahamic religions, holds up the idea of enlightenment, a state where the individual is said to come into alignment with a profound inner truth that transcends ordinary perception. The story of Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha, includes moments of deep reflection where insights about suffering, impermanence, and the path to nirvana emerged from a space of meditative silence. These could be seen as divine whispers in that they represent a profound connection to a universal wisdom that guides human behavior towards compassion and mindfulness. The accounts of divine whispers in religious texts are meant to do more than merely entertain or inform. They serve as examples of how individuals through history have accessed a greater reservoir of knowledge, providing followers in each tradition with a frame of reference for their own spiritual experiences. The encounters with the divine described in sacred texts are often turning points, pivotal moments that redirect the course of history or the life path of the individuals involved. As such, they carry immense weight and are treated with a mixture of reverence and awe. These ancient narratives also illuminate the nature of divine whispers. They are often enigmatic, requiring interpretation and reflection. The voice of God, as heard by the prophet Elijah, comes not as a mighty wind or an earthquake, but as a still, small voice, a gentle whisper. This biblical account highlights the subtlety with which divine messages can manifest, nudging us to pay attention to the quiet stirrings within us and the world around us. The stories across religion suggest that divine communication can take many forms: an audible voice, a vision, a dream, an angelic visitation, or an inner knowing. The form that these whispers take is as varied as the individuals who receive them, suggesting a divine adaptability to the unique circumstances and receptivity of each person. The diversity of these experiences within historical texts serves as a reminder that divine communication is not a monolith. It is as multifaceted as the myriad expressions of human spirituality. By examining these historical perspectives on divine whispers, we gain an appreciation for the rich tapestry of spiritual experiences that form the bedrock of religious consciousness. These narratives invite the believer, the seeker, and even the skeptic to consider the possibility that there is more to reality than meets the eye. They beckon us to listen more intently for the subtle ways the divine might be communicating with us in our own lives. Whether through sacred texts or personal encounters, divine whispers continue to be a source of inspiration, comfort, and guidance for countless individuals across different cultures and eras, echoing the eternal quest for connection with the transcendent. Recognizing the significance of synchronicities and coincidences. Have you ever had one of those moments when everything just seems to click into place, a thought crosses your mind and suddenly a song on the radio seems to be speaking directly to you, or you bump into a long-lost friend right after reminiscing about old times? These remarkable alignments that appear to defy the laws of chance are often referred to as synchronicities or meaningful coincidences. While some may attribute these occurrences to mere happenstance, others see them as nudges from the divine, a cosmic wink that suggests a deeper connection between our inner lives and the outer world. The term synchronicity was coined by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, who described it as the simultaneous occurrence of two unrelated events that, to the person experiencing them, appear to be meaningfully related. In a sense, synchronicity is life's way of showing you're in tune with a larger pattern. You think of someone you haven't seen in years, and then suddenly receive a message from them, or you come across a book that addresses the very problem you've been grappling with, all of these can be considered synchronicities. These experiences are significant because they can lead us to question the nature of reality and our place within it. When such events happen, it's as if life is suggesting there is more going on beneath the surface than we realize. We might be connected to the world and each other in profound ways that transcend our understanding of time and causality. For those open to a spiritual perspective, synchronicities are often seen as communication from the divine, or the universe itself, affirming that we are on the right path or nudging us gently towards our true purpose. But what about coincidences? The term coincidence is often used to describe an occasion where two or more events occur at the same time in a manner that is not planned or expected. When we talk about coincidences, it's typically with a sense that they're random, without inherent meaning or purpose. However, when a string of such coincidences creates a tapestry of undeniable significance, it's hard to chalk them up to mere chance. Some spiritual traditions suggest that there are no coincidences in life, that each intersection has a purpose, whether or not we are able to discern it. Recognizing these moments as potential messages from a higher power requires a degree of intuition and openness. Sometimes, the significance of a synchronistic event may be obvious, but more often than not, it's subtle, inviting you to dig a little deeper. It might be a clue to pay closer attention to a situation, a confirmation of a decision, or even a warning to change course. The practice of mindfulness can help us become more attuned to these signals. By being fully present in the moment, we can more readily notice the extraordinary in the ordinary. Now, you might be wondering how to differentiate between truly divine whispers and the everyday background noise of life. The key lies in how these experiences resonate with you emotionally and spiritually. Divine synchronicities often evoke a sense of wonder, awe, or a deep feeling of connectedness. They might occur in clusters or during significant periods of your life, providing direction or reassurance. Coincidences might simply amuse or puzzle you, but when they begin to form a pattern that feels aligned with your life's trajectory or spiritual path, they take on a more profound significance. Engaging with these divine whispers can also be seen as an art form that requires patience and practice. A good place to start is to keep a journal of these occurrences, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem at first. By writing them down, you can track patterns and themes that may emerge over time. You may find that certain symbols or numbers keep showing up, or that your dreams begin to play a more prominent role in your day-to-day life as they interweave with waking life synchronicities. It's also crucial to remember that while divine whispers can be guides, they don't command your destiny. They can provide insight and inspiration, but it's up to each individual to decide how to interpret and act on them. The power ultimately lies in being aware of these moments, listening to what they may be trying to tell you, and then integrating that guidance into your choices and actions. The beauty of this engagement is that it's deeply personal. What might be a life-changing sign for one person could be just a passing oddity for another. Trusting in your own ability to read and respond to these subtle divine messages is part of the journey towards a more spiritually enriched existence. In embracing these synchronicities and coincidences as possible divine communications, it's also wise to do so with a discerning heart and mind. Not every event is a divine whisper. Sometimes, a coincidence is just a coincidence. It's the resonance, the timing, and the context that often give credence to the idea of a divine hand at play. Therefore, while remaining open to the possibility of spiritual guidance, it is also essential not to force meaning where there might be none. Lastly, sharing your experiences can often lead to a deeper understanding and validation. Others may have encountered similar signs or patterns and can offer insight or comfort that you are not alone in perceiving life in this manner. There is a collective aspect to this process. As we share our stories, we often find that our spiritual experiences are interconnected. And through this sharing, we may discover the very essence of what it means to be human, to seek connection, meaning, and a touch of the divine in our everyday experiences. The role of prayer and meditation in receiving God's messages. When it comes to connecting with the divine and understanding the often subtle messages that can guide us through life's complex tapestry, prayer and meditation serve as vital conduits, portals that enable us to tune into a frequency that transcends our mundane daily chatter. While many may think of prayer and meditation as two distinct practices, one being a petition and the other a quieting of the mind, at their core, they intersect as deep and personal ways to engage in spiritual communication. Prayer, in its essence, is more than just reciting words or making requests known to a higher power. It's a conversation, a dialogue that beckons openness and vulnerability from our end. It is in this space that we not only express our deepest desires and concerns but also pause to listen, really listen, for responses that may not come in words but through feelings, insights, or a newfound sense of peace. Prayer can be both structured or free-form, encompassing traditional, scripted supplications or spontaneous, heartfelt talks with God. Regardless of the form it takes, the key component of prayer as a means of receiving divine whispers lies in its nature of exchange, humanity reaching out and God reaching in. Meditation complements this dialogue. If prayer is speaking with the divine, meditation can be seen as creating the silence necessary to hear its voice. It's a practice that, at a glance, might appear to be simply about relaxation or stress reduction. However, through mindfulness or focused contemplation, meditation cultivates a mental environment where the noise of our busy thoughts diminishes, and we're able to discern the more subtle frequencies that often get lost in the cacophony of life. It is in the quiet aftermath of a meditative session that many have attested to receiving clarity, understanding, or the gentle nudging of intuitive direction. The practice of meditation, widely varied across cultures and spiritual traditions, ranges from concentrative techniques, like focusing on a mantra or one's breath, to receptive methods, like openness to the moment or contemplative reading. This variety means that individuals can find a method that resonates with them, aligning with their belief systems and comfort levels. The practice doesn't have to be esoteric or inaccessible. It can be as simple as sitting quietly for a few moments each day, seeking to clear one's mind and open the heart to potential messages from the divine. Combining prayer and meditation creates a symbiotic relationship where the active seeking of dialogue with the divine through prayer is balanced by the receptive silence of meditation. It can be likened to breathing. Inhaling is receiving life sustenance, while exhaling is expressing our life force back into the world. These practices ensure that we are not just asking for guidance, but also making the space to receive it, which can mean the difference between feeling lost in our own thoughts and being aligned with a more profound wisdom. Many who prioritize these spiritual practices report a greater sense of direction and purpose, finding that the answers they seek, or the comfort they need, come to them in various ways. Some may feel a sudden conviction about a decision they have been weighing, while others might receive new insights into a long-standing problem, or even encounter a sense of reassurance that they are not alone in their struggles. Such experiences reinforce the idea that prayer and meditation are not just passive activities, but dynamic engagement with a living presence beyond our comprehension. Adopting regular practices of prayer and meditation does not mean one will be without doubts or questions. If anything, spiritual communication tends to deepen one's engagement with the mysteries of existence instead of simplifying them. However, the strength of these practices lies in their ability to ground individuals in a sense of connection to something greater, providing an inner compass by which to navigate life's ebbs and flows. The subtleties of this journey entail learning to trust in the quiet moments, in the gentle push toward one path or another, in recognizing that divine guidance often doesn't shout over the noise of life, but whispers in the silence thereafter. The transformative potential of prayer and meditation is widely acknowledged by those who maintain a committed approach to these practices. Over time, as familiarity with the nuances of spiritual connectivity grows, individuals often find themselves more attuned to recognizing the touch of the divine in their lives. This doesn't mean that every event is seen as a direct message. The wisdom lies in acknowledging that some things are mere happenstance while others carry a reverberation that seems to echo with a deeper truth. Acknowledging this, however, we should emphasize that the path of spiritual communication is highly personal and subjective. What resonates as a divine whisper to one person might seem like ordinary life playing out to another. The lens of faith and belief shapes our interpretation of events and inner experiences significantly. The authority of one's own experience becomes a guiding light in understanding and integrating these whispers into one's life. It's a deeply individual process that defies a one-size-fits-all approach, and therefore encourages an exploration that is both profoundly personal and inherently communal when shared with others on similar quests. In embracing prayer and meditation as vital practices in receiving divine messages, one undertakes a journey that can be transformative and enriching. It's a path that requires patience, openness, and a willingness to listen as much as to ask. Through these spiritual disciplines, we invite a dialogue that transcends the boundaries of our individual consciousness and taps into the collective wisdom of a universal divine presence. Engaging in this conversation can bring clarity, purpose, and a sense of peace that is, by many accounts, the very essence of spiritual communion. It's in the silent beats between our own thoughts where we often find the frequency of the divine, waiting to offer guidance, waiting to whisper into the hearts open enough to listen. Interpreting the unspoken, dreams and visions as divine messengers. Dreams and visions have long been revered as mysterious doorways to understanding more than what meets the eye. They are often thought to act as conduits for divine messages, a whisper from a realm beyond our conscious understanding. Throughout history, numerous cultures and spiritual traditions have held the belief that during the quiet of the night, or at pivotal moments in life, the divine can communicate profound wisdom through dreamscapes and visions. It's not uncommon for people to report experiences where their dreams have provided guidance, inspiration, or warnings, prompting the curious among us to wonder whether there is a thread of the divine woven into these nighttime narratives. Consider for a moment the intricate tapestry of a dream, with its echoes of emotions, symbols, and scenarios that can be both mundane and fantastical. Dreams mirror the complexity of our psyche, combining our deepest desires, fears, and memories, often presenting them in abstract or allegorical forms. In this mysterious state, when our conscious mind surrenders control, some say that the soul is more receptive to divine whispers. It's within this vulnerability that messages can bypass the barriers of our rational thinking and plant seeds of insight that may take root in our waking life. How, then, does one differentiate between a typical dream, conjured by the ordinary working of the mind, and a vision or dream that carries a message from the divine? Symbols play a crucial role in this discernment. Often, it is the symbolic language of our subconscious that is used as a canvas for divine communication. These symbols can be incredibly personal, or they may be universally understood archetypes. A dream about water, for instance, might represent purification, emotions, or the flow of life itself, depending on the dreamer's context and experiences. It is not so much the symbol itself but the feelings and intuition that accompany it, a sense of profound peace, an inexplicable knowing, or a felt sense of importance that clues the dreamer into the possibility that they have touched something sacred. Many who have navigated the realm of dreams and vision suggest that the state of one's heart and mind can significantly influence the clarity and frequency with which one receives these subtle divine nudges. For those seeking to cultivate a sensitivity to these kinds of messages, it is often recommended to create a bedtime ritual and a conducive environment that signals to the mind and soul a readiness to receive. This could involve reflective prayer, meditation, or simply setting an intention to be open to any wisdom that may be granted during sleep. Keeping a journal by the bedside is a practical tool as well, for hurriedly jotting down any remembered fragments upon waking before they evaporate with the morning light. Upon waking, the challenge of interpretation begins. Dream analysis is not an exact science, and it's important to approach it with a mix of curiosity, patience, and a dash of skepticism. Quick, Pop culture dream dictionaries that offer one-size-fits-all interpretations can be fun, but are often too simplistic to do justice to the highly subjective nature of dreams. Rather, paying attention to how certain images, characters, or scenarios resonate with one's inner feelings can provide deeper insights. Sometimes a symbol's meaning might not be immediately apparent and may require contemplation or even consultation with others who are skilled in understanding the language of the subconscious. An important consideration when interpreting dreams and visions as possible divine messages is the alignment of these experiences with one's own moral compass and core beliefs. Messages that guide towards love, understanding, compassion, and personal growth are commonly considered hallmarks of the divine. If a dream or vision leads to feelings of unease, fear, or negativity, or proposes actions that go against one's fundamental ethical principles, it may not be a divine whisper, but rather a reflection of inner turmoil or unresolved issues. For those walking a path of spiritual development, paying attention to dreams and visions can become a significant practice. It enhances one's spiritual awareness and demonstrates a willingness to engage with the mystery of the divine on its terms, not demanding proof or clarity, but resting in the peace of not knowing and being content to glean fragments of insight. As with any spiritual endeavor, the aim is not to force an experience or an answer, but rather to maintain a gentle, receptive presence. As we integrate these perceived divine whispers into everyday life, it is often not through dramatic shifts or immediate epiphanies, but through subtle nudges that gently steer us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. The patience to sit with the messages, allowing them to unfold and reveal themselves in time, is paramount. Much like planting a seed and having the faith that it will grow, trusting in the messages that come through dreams and visions calls for faith in the processes we cannot see, faith in the growth that comes from within, and ultimately, faith in the divine whisper that encourages us to look beyond what is to what could be. Developing discernment, assessing the authenticity of internal guidance. In our quest for a deeper spiritual connection, we often search for signs and signals that we're being guided by a force greater than ourselves. Whether one refers to it as the divine, God, the universe, or by any other name, the concept of receiving and interpreting a form of divine communication is central to many spiritual practices. Discernment is the subtle art of sifting through our inner experiences to differentiate between true divine guidance and the chatter of our own minds or the influence of external factors. It's a delicate balance, one that requires patience, honesty, and a willingness to be open to something beyond our understanding, while also remaining grounded in practical wisdom. Getting to the heart of our internal guidance often means peeling back the layers of our desires, fears, biases, and conditioning to reveal a clear message that resonates with truth. To effectively develop discernment in spiritual life, we must first acknowledge that not every thought or impulse originates from a divine source. Our minds are complex tapestries woven from personal history, societal expectations, emotional states, and more. Learning to recognize and navigate these realms is a crucial step on the path to authenticity. It's essential to approach this process with a spirit of humility and the understanding that divine communication might not always align with what we want to hear, but rather with what we need to understand or learn. Regular self-reflection can be instrumental in this, as it encourages us to question our motivations and biases, allowing us to approach our inner experiences with a clearer perspective. Discernment involves awareness of the context in which these internal guidances occur. The same impulse or thought can carry a different weight or significance depending on when and how it arises. For instance, inspiration striking in a moment of tranquility during meditation may hold a different meaning from a seemingly similar thought that pops up amidst the chaos of a stressful situation. Being mindful of these contexts can provide valuable clues about the origins and reliability of our perceived guidance. A powerful ally in developing discernment is the cultivation of silence and stillness in one's life. It is within the quietude that we can better hear the whispers of the divine, as the noise of the world and the incessant hum of our thoughts are dialed down. Creating regular periods of silence, whether through meditation, spending time in nature, or simply sitting quietly in reflection, can sharpen our inner senses and attune us to the subtleties of spiritual communication. One must also acknowledge the role of patience and the understanding that discernment is a skill honed over time and experience. The immediacy that pervades our modern world often transfers unjust expectations onto our spiritual practices. We must resist the urge for quick answers and instead allow our discernment to mature like fine wine, through experiences and contemplation. There will be moments of doubt and misinterpretation. These are not signs of failure, but rather part of the journey. Each misstep provides valuable lessons that refine our ability to perceive and interpret divine communication more accurately in the future. A pragmatic approach to discernment comes through verification and seeking corroboration. When we believe we have received divine guidance, one way to assess its authenticity is to look for confirmations or synchronicities in our lives that may support it. However, it is also essential to stay vigilant against seeking out signs so constantly that everything appears to be a message. This often leads to confusion rather than clarity. In addition to personal reflection and contemplation, engaging in dialogue with trusted spiritual mentors or wise friends can provide an external perspective that helps in discerning the nature of our experiences. While the journey within is a personal one, we needn't walk it entirely alone. Other people can act as mirrors, reflecting our thoughts and impressions back to us in ways that can bring clarity. Living according to one's values, ethics, and principles can be a valuable touchstone in assessing internal guidance. If a supposed divine message is in direct conflict with the moral compass we've established for ourselves, it warrants deeper inspection. True divine whispers should encourage growth and transformation that is in alignment with our highest principles and the common good, rather than self-serving or harmful actions. There is an element of fearlessness required in developing discernment. It's not simply about the confidence to follow through on guidance once it has been deemed authentic, but also the courage to face the possibility that what we thought was divine may be a projection of our lesser qualities or desires. It's about being brave enough to let go of certainties and to embrace the mystery that often accompanies genuine spiritual messages. This kind of courage opens us up to a more profound transformation, as it invites us into a deeper dialogue with the divine, one that isn't predicated on always getting it right, but on being genuinely open to the lessons and insights that come from that engagement. In weaving together these threads, humility, context awareness, cultivation of silence, patience, corroboration, community, value alignment, and courage, we fashion a tapestry of discernment that allows us to more reliably navigate the often faint and enigmatic realm of divine whispers. As we grow in discernment, we find our lives enriched by a sense of guidance that feels more authentic, providing us with a wellspring of wisdom to draw upon as we navigate the complexities of our world. The journey of integrating this level of discernment into our lives is an ongoing process, one that continually unfolds new layers of understanding and connection with the divine frequency that permeates all of existence. The impact of spiritual practices on enhancing divine connectivity. In the quest to deepen one's spiritual connection and enhance divine communication, spiritual practices stand as both ancient and contemporary doorways to a heightened sense of the sacred. The link between spirituality and the sacred is as timeless as it is profound. The cultivation of a daily practice or set of practices can act as a receiver to the frequency of the divine, fine-tuning our ability to listen, perceive, and be moved by the whispers that transcend the ordinary. Consider meditation, a cornerstone of many spiritual traditions, which allows individuals to still the mind, quiet the incessant chatter, and create a conducive space for divine whispers to be discerned. It's akin to clearing static from a radio frequency, where the goal is to reach a state of clarity and receptivity. The beauty of meditation lies in its simplicity and universality. No matter one's religious beliefs, meditation can be adapted to fit into any framework of spirituality. As the body remains still, and the breath becomes the anchor of concentration, the mind is freed from the grip of the relentless stream of thoughts. Within this tranquility, the subtle vibrations of divine communication can resonate, revealing insights, guiding intuitions, and sometimes, an overwhelming sense of unity with the universal source. Meditation often leads to the cultivation of mindfulness, another transformative practice. Through mindfulness, individuals learn to live with full awareness of the present moment. Rather than being drawn into the past or projected into the future, mindfulness grounds us in the now, where each moment is an opportunity to experience divine connection. Eating becomes not just an act of sustenance, but a sacrament, walking, a pilgrimage, and listening, a prayer. Mindfulness ushers in a reverence for life where the mundane is often encrusted with a layer of the ethereal, allowing us to perceive the breadcrumbs of the divine scattered through our daily existence. Another potent spiritual practice is prayer. Prayer isn't necessarily about presenting a list of requests or articulating well-formulated thoughts. Often, it is about aligning one's heart with the divine, opening up to the possibility of receiving guidance, and expressing a profound longing for connection. It is a vocal or silent conversation with the divine, an intentional act of reaching out beyond the seen, tapping into an exchange that is less about words and more about the essence. In its most authentic form, prayer becomes a conduit through which one may feel the nurturing presence of a higher power, the comfort of being heard, and the guidance that often comes quietly, like the gentle touch of the wind. The practice of contemplation, particularly in the Christian mystic tradition, is another avenue through which individuals have sought to amplify divine whispers. Contemplation is characterized by a loving attention to the presence of the divine and often involves deep reflection on spiritual truths. By turning inward and focusing on the divine spark within, one opens up to a profound conversation that can transcend language and concept. It can be experienced as an inner knowing, a silent understanding that emerges from the depths of the soul. In tandem with personal practices, communal spiritual practices, such as group prayer, worship services, and spiritual fellowship, can also greatly enhance one's connectivity to the divine. The collective energy of a community in worship can create powerful vibrations and an amplified sense of spiritual presence. There is something transformative about being part of a chorus of voices lifted in prayer or sitting in silence among others seeking the same connection. It reflects the interconnectedness of all beings and puts into perspective the individual's relationship with the divine. Similarly, engaging in service to others as a spiritual practice can attune individuals to the divine frequency. Many faiths espouse that in serving others, one serves the divine. Acts of kindness, compassion, and selflessness can in themselves be forms of prayer and meditation. They have the power to open the heart, dissolve barriers between self and other, and allow a person to become a vessel through which divine love and wisdom can flow. Habits such as regular fasting or conscious eating can recalibrate our spiritual antennas. These practices have the capacity to purify the body and mind, increasing sensitivity to subtler dimensions of existence, where divine whispers might be better perceived. The practice of yoga, for instance, integrates physical posture with breath control and meditation, enhancing the practitioner's energy flow and awareness, which in turn can facilitate a stronger connection to the spiritual. The creative arts must not be overlooked as spiritual practices that could potentially heighten divine connectivity. The act of creating, whether it be through painting, music, poetry, or dance, can serve as a form of worship and meditation. These endeavors can become portals through which inspiration flows, often attributed to a divine muse. They create an environment for divine whispers to be not only heard but also expressed, often in deeply moving and profound ways. In essence, every spiritual practice, be it meditation, prayer, contemplation, community worship, service, fasting, yoga, or creative expression, serves to still the mind, open the heart, and purify the body, creating a fertile ground for divine whispers to be received. The disciplined engagement in these practices builds spiritual acuity, enabling individuals to detect and decipher subtle spiritual communications that might otherwise go unnoticed amidst the cacophony of everyday life. It is through a committed approach to these practices that many have reported an increase in synchronous events, those remarkable coincidences that hint at a hidden order or guiding hand. A consistent spiritual regime can refine one's perceptions, allowing dim intuitions to shine brighter and coincidences to coalesce into patterns of divine significance. As the individual dedicates time and intention to these practices, they report a more tactile sense of divine presence in their lives, a more acute intuition for making life decisions, and a more profound sense of peace and purpose. Ultimately, the impact of spiritual practices on enhancing divine connectivity cannot be overstated. Like tuning an instrument, these practices harmonize the many layers of our being, aligning us with the cosmic symphony. In doing so, they afford us the clarity, receptivity, and discernment necessary to tune into the frequency of the divine and to live life in greater harmony with the sacred whispers that guide and uplift the human spirit. Navigating life's challenges with guidance from above. Life, with its unpredictable ebb and flow, often presents challenges that test our resilience, faith, and patience. In such times, the concept of receiving guidance from a higher power is not just comforting but can serve as a beacon of hope, providing direction and solace. Many spiritual traditions teach us that divine whispers, subtle, often inexplicable nudges or intuitions, are a way for the divine to communicate with us, offering support and insight when we face life's hurdles. Engaging with this concept can enrich one's spiritual journey and provides a distinctive perspective on handling the various obstacles we may encounter. When crisis strikes, it can feel as though we're traversing a dark forest with no clear path out. It's in these moments of uncertainty that tuning into a higher frequency, seeking guidance from above, may prove invaluable. However, it's important to acknowledge that this guidance often doesn't appear as a booming voice from the heavens, but rather as a quiet knowing, a gentle push, or a series of seemingly unrelated events that gently steer us in the right direction. For example, a chance encounter, an overheard conversation, or even an unexpected setback can be the very things that, in retrospect, lead us to where we need to be. Opening up to divine guidance when faced with challenges involves a degree of surrender. This doesn't imply giving up on making decisions or taking responsibility for one's life. Quite the contrary, it's about co-creating with the divine by acknowledging that while we play an active role in shaping our destiny, we can also seek and receive divine wisdom that helps foster growth and resilience. Surrender in this sense is about trust. It's trusting that the universe, God, or whichever higher power one believes in, has a broader perspective and that by tapping into this wisdom, we can navigate life's challenges more effectively. Prayer and meditation are common methods for seeking this guidance. They create moments of stillness, necessary to quiet the chatter of the mind and allow space for divine whispers to be heard. In times of trouble, these practices can calm the storm that rages within, allowing individuals to approach their problems with a clearer mind and an open heart. It's during these quiet moments that one may receive the subtle impressions or insights that can lead to resolution or understanding. It's also essential to develop a sense of awareness during daily life, as divine messages can come at any time and in many forms. Recurring themes or patterns in one's life might be a way that the divine is trying to catch our attention, to point us towards areas that need our focus or change. For instance, if someone repeatedly encounters the same challenge, it may be a signal that there's a lesson to be learned that they've been missing. By recognizing these patterns and reflecting on them, one moves closer to deciphering the messages behind life's challenges. Developing active listening skills is paramount when looking for guidance. This means not only paying attention to external signs but also learning to listen to the internal guidance that resides within each individual. Intuition, gut feelings, or heart's whispers can all be forms of divine communication. It requires discernment, though, to distinguish between fear-based reactions and true intuitive guidance. Generally speaking, divine prompts will guide towards growth, healing, and expansion, even if the path seems daunting at first. Moreover, gratitude plays a significant role when working with divine guidance. Appreciating the learning opportunities that challenges present transforms the perspective from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. This shift in viewpoint can lead to recognizing the assistance and insights being offered from above more easily. Another way one may experience divine guidance in navigating life's obstacles is through the support of others. Sometimes, the advice or assistance needed comes through another individual who may be acting as a messenger, whether they're aware of it or not. Keeping an open heart and mind to the guidance that can flow through human interactions is just as important as seeking solitary communion with the divine. Throughout history, many people have chronicled the divine guidance they've received during life's trials. These testimonies often share common themes of unexpected help, miraculous turns of events, or deep internal shifts following a period of prayerful reflection or divine surrender. These stories can act as inspiration and confirmation that although each person's journey is unique, support from above is universally available to those who seek it. Incorporating these experiences into one's narrative can be deeply empowering. Instead of feeling tossed about by the waves of circumstance, one may begin to sense a guiding current beneath the surface, directing them toward shores of greater wisdom and understanding. As challenges arise, rather than becoming overwhelmed, individuals can lean into this feeling of support, using the divine guidance they receive as an anchor through the tumult. Navigating life's challenges with guidance from above is a profoundly personal journey that requires patience, openness, and a willingness to listen. Those who embrace the idea may find that the divine is not a far-off entity but a close, ever-present source of support and inspiration. Life's trials don't become any less challenging, but the way one meets them can change dramatically. Guidance from above can illuminate a path through the darkest of forests, offering hope and direction when it's needed most. It can turn obstacles into opportunities, teaching us to see beyond the immediate difficulties and recognize the potential for growth that lies within every challenge. Sharing divine whispers, testimonies, and experiences of others. There's something profoundly heartwarming and deeply inspiring about sharing stories of divine whispers, those moments when, amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life, the heavens seem to reach down and touch the earth, specifically the hearts and minds of individuals. These instances provide a stirring reminder that perhaps we are not alone, that our lives are tethered to a greater reality that intermittently breaks through the mundane to deliver messages of hope, guidance, and reassurance. People from different traditions, social backgrounds, and walks of life have claimed to hear the voice of the divine in various ways, each testimony adding to a diverse tapestry of spiritual experiences. Take for instance, Sarah, a middle-aged teacher from a small town. Her recounting of divine interaction came at a particularly low point in her life. After years of dealing with a chronic illness that left her feeling isolated and despondent, Sarah's narrative of a quiet yet clear sense of being loved and not forgotten in her darkest hour provides a window into the gentle, compassionate side of divine communication. Her experience, marked not by an audible voice, but by a sudden and inexplicable infusion of comfort and peace, exemplifies how divine whispers are often less about words and more about the inexpressible transmission of comfort. Like many others, Sarah found the strength to persevere through her illness, feeling that her steps were being guided by a force that was both within her and beyond her. Similarly, there's James, a self-proclaimed skeptic turned believer. While not religious in the traditional sense, James couldn't shake off the sense of destiny when, on multiple occasions, a series of bizarre coincidences led him to life-changing opportunities. One could argue that such events are mere chance, yet for James, the pattern of what he termed synchronicities, which included running into an old friend who would become a business partner, or stumbling upon a book that revolutionized his thinking, raised his awareness of a possible orchestral divine arrangement in his life. His story stands as an example of how life's seemingly random moments might carry with them the imprint of the divine, offering guidance through life's complex web. Then there are stories like Maya's, who speaks of a vivid dream that brought clarity to her life's purpose. To her, the dream felt more real than any waking moment, and in her culture, such experiences are seen as sacred, as messages from the gods or the ancestors. Her dream offered specific advice on a career decision, which would later prove to be incredibly accurate. The feeling of certainty and direction that followed her upon awakening stayed with her for years. For many like Maya, dreams serve as a conduit for divine communication, bypassing the noise of our conscious minds to deliver insights in a language that is uniquely tailored to each dreamer. What is truly fascinating about these accounts is not only their inherent diversity but also the transformative power they seem to possess. While the exact nature of these communications remains a mystery, the effects they have on the individual's lives speak of a reality that is touched by the divine. Be it through an inner voice, a sense of knowing, a physical sensation, or an unexplainable event, each story speaks of personal encounters with a form of guidance that transcends normal experience. Across cultures and throughout history, individuals have attested to moments in which the veil between the divine and the human appears to thin, providing profound experiences that can alter life's trajectory. Some stories emerge from structured spiritual practices, while others catch us wholly by surprise, in the most mundane of moments. These stories are as varied as the people who share them, yet they unite us in the human longing for connection and the hope that there is more to this existence than meets the eye. Moreover, the sharing of such experiences plays a crucial role. When individuals recount their personal narratives about divine whispers, they do more than merely narrate an event, they beckon others to open up to the possibility of such occurrences in their own lives. These stories have a way of affirming our own inner experiences that we might otherwise dismiss or overlook. They encourage a collective exploration into the greater depths of human spiritual experience and invite others to tune into the frequency that might offer divine wisdom and guidance. In essence, the process of sharing such divine whispers reveals a universal thread of experiential spirituality running through humanity's tapestry. The sharing becomes a powerful act that not only validates individual experiences but also serves as a beacon for communal spiritual journeying. These testimonies often resonate with others, touching hearts and awakening souls to the myriad ways the divine communicates with us if only we pay attention. Remarkably, the act of sharing these personal divine encounters also invites an important discourse on the nature of spiritual experience, encouraging healthy skepticism and thoughtful reflection. By putting these stories out into the open, believers and non-believers alike are provided an opportunity to engage in meaningful dialogue, blending personal insight with collective wisdom and perhaps, in the process, expanding our conception of what it means to encounter the divine. In the end, the threads of these shared experiences weave a tapestry rich with human seeking, divine touching, and the interplay between the two. It is in these stories of divine whispers, shared across kitchen tables, over campfires, or within the pages of written narratives, that we find a sense of kinship with the ineffable and are reminded of the timeless narrative of humanity's interaction with the mysterious forces that animate and enliven the universe. Cultivating a continuous relationship with the divine. When it comes to cultivating a relationship with anything or anyone, be it a friend, a romantic partner, or a hobby, it requires dedicated time, patience, and consistency. So, why would it be any different when it comes to nurturing our connection with the divine? Establishing this continuous bond with a higher power, God, or the universe, however you conceptualize the sacred, can be a profoundly enriching aspect of one's life, imbuing it with a sense of purpose, comfort, and guidance. The beautiful part about this relationship is that it transcends the boundaries of physical space and time, and is as personal and unique as you are. Just as every friendship has its own rhythm and every love its own language, so too does each individual's dialogue with the divine evolve in its own beautiful and unexpected ways. One of the most important facets of creating and maintaining this relationship is making it a routine part of your daily experience. Just as you would check in with a close friend or partner, so can you regularly check in with the divine. This doesn't have to be in any particular form. For some, it might mean setting aside moments of reflection each morning or evening, while for others it may involve integrating mindfulness practices throughout the day, such as expressing gratitude before meals or contemplative walks in nature. The key is to find a practice that not only resonates with your belief system, but also fits naturally into your lifestyle, something that feels less like an obligation and more like a cherished part of your day. Another dimension of this relationship is that of active listening. Often, we approach our understanding of the divine from a place of speaking, asking for things, guidance, help, or forgiveness. But as with any relationship, a dialogue should have two sides. There should also be space made for listening. This might involve meditation, where you quiet your mind and open yourself to any feelings, thoughts, or sensations that arise, valuing them as potential communications from a higher power. Or, perhaps you find that insight often comes to you when you're journaling, letting the pen flow across the page without censorship or critique, allowing a higher wisdom to manifest through your words. Regular exposure to sacred texts or teachings can also be beneficial. Whether it's reading scripture, listening to spiritual talks, or attending worship services, these practices can keep you attuned to the timeless wisdom from which you can draw strength and inspiration on a daily basis. The knowledge and parables contained in sacred law are often designed to be revisited and reinterpreted as one's life evolves. You'll likely find that as you change and grow, so too does your understanding of these teachings. Each rereading or re-listening can offer new insights and reaffirm your connection to the divine. Sharing your journey with a community can deepen your relationship with the divine. This might mean being part of a religious congregation, a spiritual study group, or even an online community of like-minded individuals. Sharing experiences, doubts, and spiritual achievements with others can lend different perspectives and bring comfort when your own connection to the divine feels strained. Community rituals and celebrations can also serve as powerful reminders of the divine's presence and the communal nature of spirituality. Being open to guidance from the divine in everyday life can transform your perception of mundane activities and decision-making. Have you ever been faced with a difficult choice and found that, upon reflection or prayer, the answer seemed somehow clearer or easier? Many believe that's the divine speaking in a language that's perhaps subtler, but no less significant than our own internal monologue. It might manifest as an unexpected sense of peace about a decision, a serendipitous encounter that nudges you in a certain direction, or even a recurrent theme in your daily life that seems to hint at a deeper message. It's also worth noting that, as in any relationship, there will be times of closeness and times of distance. Sometimes, the divine may feel very present and accessible, at other times, more elusive. This is natural and to be expected. Just as we don't abandon our friends or family during harder times, we shouldn't abandon our relationship with the divine during these spiritual winters. In fact, these moments can sometimes be an invitation to delve deeper, to search more earnestly for that connection and to reaffirm our commitment to it. Personal growth plays a significant role in this ongoing relationship. We are ever-evolving beings, and our understanding of and relationship with the divine should evolve as well. Embrace the journey as an educational one, be open to learning, experiencing, and changing. The divine, in all its forms and understandings, is often seen as an absolute entity, unchanging and eternal. But our perception of it is anything but static. We learn and adapt, and our spiritual relationship should be dynamic and growing, reflecting our own personal development. Cultivating a continuous relationship with the divine is an intensely personal journey. It's a path paved with habitual practices, intentional listening, steady learning, community sharing, and openness to everyday guidance. It waxes and wanes, is full of revelations and mysteries, and requires a tender, open heart along with an inquisitive, resilient spirit. And like any true relationship, it's built on a foundation of love, commitment, and the desire to remain connected, no matter the ebbs and flows of life. So, in times of joy or strife, in moments of certainty or confusion, Hold fast to that divine connection, that sacred frequency, and know that you are never alone in this vast and wondrous universe. Embracing divine whispers, integrating God's messages into everyday life. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, the divine often communicates with us in subtle whispers, nuances that can easily be drowned out by the cacophony of our routine existence. To truly embrace these divine whispers, we must nurture a different kind of hearing, one that is attuned to the delicate frequencies where spiritual guidance resides. This art is not one of seclusion or asceticism, but rather a practice of broadening our awareness to include the sacred in the mundane, and infusing our every action with intention and openness to heavenly guidance. Listening to and integrating God's messages into our lives is an experience akin to cultivating a garden. It involves regularly tending to the soil of our soul, ensuring it is fertile enough for divine seeds to take root. This cultivation might begin with something as simple as starting each morning with a moment of silence, a pause to acknowledge the dawn and invite divine wisdom to guide our thoughts and actions throughout the day. It is within these moments of stillness that we can more readily distinguish the whispers of the divine from the noise of our own thoughts and desires. As we engage in our daily tasks, let them become acts of meditation, performed with mindfulness and a gentle curiosity about how the divine might be speaking through our interactions and experiences. Perhaps it's through a chance encounter with a stranger, an unexpected obstacle, or a sudden flush of gratitude that we feel the guiding hand of the divine. We must be agile listeners, willing to perceive these subtle shifts as communications meant to steer us along our paths, shaping our decision-making and our relationships with others. The act of embracing divine whispers means to carry a sense of sacredness into even the most ordinary of tasks. Washing dishes or attending to emails can be transformed into spiritual practices when done with the acknowledgement of a higher presence. This isn't about monumental moments of revelation, but rather about recognizing the potential for communion with the divine in all aspects of life. By doing so, we not only deepen our connection to God but also bring a richer, more compassionate perspective to our everyday experiences. We live with narratives that shape our reality, and listening to divine whispers helps us to reinterpret our stories through a spiritual lens. When facing life's inevitable challenges and confusions, rather than surrendering to distress, we might pause and ponder, what is the divine teaching me here? What whisper of wisdom lies beneath this difficulty? By framing our challenges as conversations with the divine, we open ourselves to transformative insights and find the strength to move through adversity with grace. Sharing the insights gleaned from divine whispers with others can be an act of profound connection and service. Testimonies of divine guidance often serve as beacons of hope and inspiration for those around us. Yet, we must exercise discernment in choosing when and with whom to share these personal revelations, ensuring that our sharing is not about ego or proselytism, but about the genuine desire to uplift and support others on their spiritual journeys. One of the most significant aspects of embracing divine whispers is the way in which it alters our perception of the world around us. We begin to see life as a tapestry woven with divine threads, each twist of fate or serendipitous event carrying a whisper from the beyond. This perspective fosters within us a sense of unity with creation, a recognition that we are all part of a greater whole, interconnected and guided by the same celestial hand. Integrating God's messages requires a dedicated practice of reflection. Whether it's through journaling, artistic expression, or quiet contemplation, taking time to process and internalize divine communications ensures they become a part of our spiritual fabric. It's as if each whisper is a thread that, once woven into the canvas of our lives, gradually reveals a grander design, one that we co-create with the divine. Embracing divine whispers is ultimately about living a life of listening, a life where every moment is an opportunity to connect with the divine and be guided by its love and wisdom. It's an ongoing journey, one that enriches and informs every breath we take. Through a daily commitment to this sacred dialogue, we can live our lives as a testament to the beauty and compassion that flow ceaselessly from the divine source, bringing harmony and purpose to our existence.